How's it going, everybody? This is John with Black Thorn Briar. I'm just doing this video for the first time. I've never done one of these before, but I thought it might be interesting to kind of show the creative process about how I go through making a piece from scratch. Today I'm going to be taking you through one of my own personal projects, which is just something that I'm doing for myself, and I like to do these projects every now and again because it helps me kind of push my comfort zone a little bit, try new things, see if it works, and that way if it's something cool that works for me, it's something that hopefully I can bring to all of you as well at some point, if it's something that you guys seem to have an interest in. For this particular project, I'm going to be making a pipe rack. This is based off of a like my typical type plaque designs with like wood burning and so on. So when I usually start these types of things off, I just try to have a general idea of what it's going to look like. Since I'm a graphic designer by nature, I like to lay things out on a computer to kind of see how they're going to look first, and then go through the whole painstaking process of trying to transfer that design from the computer to something physical like a piece of wood in this case. And today I'm going to kind of show you what I've got going on. So the pipe rack, I'm just going to go ahead and pull it up here on Illustrator, and it is this guy right here. Now, as you can see, I've got the wood piece in the background. The design is going to be, just like this. I'm going with a kind of Lord of the Rings type of feel to this one. So, old Toby, finest Swede in the South Farthing. I thought this would be a kind of a neat thing since Lord of the Rings, for me, I've always enjoyed the, Gandalf and his pipe, and Bilbo, sitting on the front of his, on the front porch of his hobbit hole, smoking on a pipe. So I figured this would be kind of a neat thing to do. Now, the pipes themselves, these are all ones that I collected over the years at the Ohio Renaissance Festival. Most of these pipes, with the exception of this big one up here, all of these pipes I believe I got from Danny Boy Pipes. So just kind of putting the plug out there. If you're ever at OREN, go check out Danny Boy Pipes because they have some really great ones. And it's kind of a thing for me. Every year I just pick up one new pipe, and I think I'm kind of good for now. I always try to hesitate buying a new one because I just have so many of them at this point. But we'll see what happens this year. So for the design of this one, what we're looking at is, we're going to be doing a live edge basswood plaque, and what that is you typically find these at I usually get mine from local craft store, but they kind of look like this. You got that live edge with the wood right there, so that kind of gives it this real kind of rustic feel to it. I really like that, so I like using these. Not to mention the basswood responds really well to pyrography, wood burning. I like that. It also takes stains and colors very well, so that's kind of my go-to for projects of this nature. Now, with all the stuff that we have right here, the first thing I started off with was just the design. It was just the graphic here in the background, which I found somewhere online. I just thought it was really cool, so I snagged that. And in order to size it up appropriately without being pixelated, I had to digitize it or live image trace it, which actually it did quite well on its own since it was kind of a two-tone graphic. It traced easily. I didn't have much trouble with that. But now that I have it digitized, I can size it as big as I want, as small as I want, without losing any fidelity to the graphic, which is super important. So if I kind of zoom in here like this, you can see we can get real close, real sharp, crisp designs, which I really like. But all the black work on that is going to be wood burned. So that's going to be the main graphic. Now down here, I wanted to add a little something else because I knew that this graphic was going to be thin, and I didn't want to stretch it out too wide because if I did that, it would start to kind of encroach on the pipes a little bit, look a little bit messy and cluttered, so I didn't want that. I had this nice little area down here where I'm going to be doing a quote, which is actually a quote from Gandalf that I looked up. And we scale in real close here. I can show you a little bit more about it. There we go. Now, it's in an Elvish font. It's not in actual Elvish lettering like the actual language. It's just designed to look like Elvish font, but it is still English. And in here, if I remember correctly, it is, for myself, I would like a pipe to smoke in comfort and warmer feet. Gandalf. And I thought that would look pretty cool. So yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm not crazy about having a wood burn this part, but you know, if I take a little bit extra time, I think it'll be fine. But that is the overall graphic. Now, the tricky part with this was knowing that I wanted to do these, if you see like right here, these little black dots, these represent pegs that I'm going to be putting in, and those are going to, you know, obviously be the offset points for the pipes, so that when you actually fit the pipes in, it holds them into position in 2 different points. I wasn't quite sure how to arrange these pegs, so you know, obviously my pipes are very different shapes and sizes and styles, and so I wasn't really sure how they would arrange. Initially I had them just kind of done the same way, going, you know, a few down on this side, a few down on this side, but I just didn't look like it was going to work out right. So I wasn't really sure how else to go about figuring out the proper positioning for it, and it wasn't something that I wanted to do after the graphic side of it. So what I did is I took every one of my pipes out to my workshop. I set them up on a stand. You can kind of actually see, after I cut it out of the picture, you can kind of see where that stand was right there. But just enough so I could get a good profile picture of it. I measured them and brought the images into the design program, and then just kind of traced around them and cut them out and then sized them appropriately. So each one of these pipes is real life sized right now on this, as well as the plaque, obviously. What I did is I tried to figure out the best way to hang these pipes, so, you know, one on top, one on bottom, kind of offset diagonally, so that they would hang in that way. I locked the points into place, grouped the entire thing together, and now as you can see, like with this pipe in particular, well, that one is not, so let me go ahead and group that. And grab these points, we're going to group that. Grab this guy, we're going to group that. So now the 2 points are locked into position with that pipe, so now what I have to do is I actually have the ability to kind of rotate it and figure out where the best angle is going to be for it. And I think I've got everything pretty much where I want it. It does look like it's, you know, taking up a lot of space, and of course it's going to. You know, any other way to do this, I probably would have had to have gone with a bigger piece of wood, but I think this is going to be fine. It's just going to need a nice spot on the wall for everything to hang here. Now, the church wardens, the longer ones, we have the one on the top and we have the one on the bottom here. I've only got 2 of these guys, and, you know, well, unless you count this guy, but I think he's kind of a specialty piece, so I'm not counting him. But for the longer ones, I knew that they would, you know, especially with this one in particular, where the stem is so thin, I didn't want all this heavy weight back here holding it at an angle where it could potentially crack or break. So I wanted them to lay a little bit more horizontally to the panel, and I think that, you know, doing it this way would be great. So we have a further offset, which is distributing the weight a little bit better for the top and the bottom, and I think that that's where those are going to be great. Some of them, you know, with the stems, you know, you've got ones like this one. Well, actually, this one here, for the most part, I think that one I'm a little bit, you know, concerned about. Is that going to put too much pressure on, you know, this very thin piece of the stem right there? But I really don't think it's going to be all that terrible. I think it'll be fine. This one I'm a little bit worried about, just because you've got such this heavy bowl right here, and you've got this long, you know, leather wrapped and hand stitched stem, which, I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous, but we've got just this really nubby stem right here that it's holding on to. I held it in my fingers and just kind of pinched it in the way that it's going to rest on the board, and I think it's going to be fine. I mean, I'll find out, obviously, if it's not. Danny Boy Pipes is really great about replacing stems and things like that, so if that does happen, then, you know, I'll take it off, put it somewhere else, and, you know, leave that spot for another pipe that I might pick up you know, in the next year or two. But I think it's going to be fine. Plus, it's too nice a piece not to include. So, yeah, this is pretty much the layout that I'm going to use for this. I think the pipes are all positioned nicely. I've got my post points in right where I want them. So what I'm going to do now is, you know, I got to transfer this to a piece of wood so I can begin wood burning it. Now the reason I laid it out like this in advance is so that I can leave these points right where I need them. Now the posts that I'm using are like these guys right here. Sorry about the lighting, but you know, it's these like little wood dowel things. Now luckily enough, it has this it has the dimensions right up there, so I know how wide the hole needs to be drilled. The plan for these guys is to, obviously I'm going to seal off the actual tenon right there with some tape so it doesn't get paint on it. But I'm going to paint these guys, ideally, a metallic gold, and then I'm going to finish them with a clear coat gloss finish so that it has kind of a metal look to it. So it's going to kind of be a faux metal look to these posts. You know, I'm going to pre-drill the holes for the tenons, use a little bit of wood glue, pop those guys in there, but that's obviously going to be at the very end of the project. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to actually take the graphic, the quotes, and all the points for the pegs. I'm going to group that all together as one solid graphic. I'm going to take it off to the side. I'm going to, now this is a 9.5 by 16 inch long board. I've only got a printer that prints your traditional 8.5 by 11 you know, piece of paper. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this graphic as a whole, and I'm going to have to split it in two and overlap it somewhere in the middle. And then I'm going to have to line it up on a light board, make sure everything lines up properly, tape it together or glue it together. And then I'm going to have to lay down the entire sheet on top of the board, and then just kind of tape that into place. And I'm going to make my marks so I know where the marks are going to go, and transfer the graphic. We do that using a graphite paper or a carbon transfer paper underneath, and basically I'm just going to have to go through with my pencil or whatever, and I'm just going to have to draw in all of this by hand. Again, not looking really forward to that part, but it'll be cool when it's done. A lot of these projects are super difficult to do because of the level of complexity I put myself through to do them, but seeing the finished product, it really makes it worthwhile. Once we're done transferring that, I go through the whole process of wood burning, and I probably won't bother wood burning the peg holes there. I'll probably just leave those in as graphite or carbon, whatever type of paper I decide to use. And I'll go through. I'll do the drilling, and well, actually, come to think of it, I do want to do a finish on this as well. So I'm thinking, you know, probably a clear satin, so you have a little bit of shine to it, but not so much that it's, you know, overpowering. I think the gloss will be a little too much, but I think the satin will give it a nice sheen to it, so a couple coats of that would be great. I think what I'm probably going to do then is, once I transfer the design, I'm going to wood burn it, and then I'm going to do a stain of some sort, probably a lighter stain like this, just so it has a little bit of color. I might even use like a boiled linseed just to bring out the natural color. It kind of gives it like a yellowish tint, but we'll see. I'm undecided right now. But we'll finish the whole board. I'll make sure I have these, you know, these parts in here real nice and dark. I might even go in with a Sharpie and just kind of shore them up after the staining, or maybe even before the staining. And then I'll do the whole coat of finish, and then I'll go back in and drill those holes. And the reason why is because if I pre-drill those holes before I do the staining or the finish, I got to worry about that product getting into the holes and gumming them up and making it harder to fit those tenons in there. So basically I'm going to have a completely finished piece before I start drilling holes through it, which is terrifying, actually. But anyway, that's the idea. I'm sure it'll be fine if I know what I'm doing, which we're going to find out if I do or not. So anyway, you know, and also the other thing that I figured out too is because of the weight that this thing is going to be holding, typically on the back of my pieces, I usually do a single point, like a sawtooth hanger on the back, you know, to hang it on a single nail so it's easier to kind of shift to the sides, however you want to position it on the wall. But with this one in particular, because I'm going to have so much weight hanging off of both sides of it, I'm definitely going to need to do a 2-point mounting on the back. One of the things I've been kind of toying with is the idea of putting keyhole slots into the back using a router. I've never done it before, so I'm kind of wondering if this might just be the project I'm going to need to do that with. Now, instead of doing that on this project, I'm actually going to have to get a piece, like a scrap piece first, practice the routing, make sure I know what the hell I'm doing, and then come over and do this. If I'm going to do that, I'll probably do the router keyhole slots first on the back, just to make sure everything's lined up properly so it's not, you know, wonky, and then I'll get started on doing the design stuff, because it would totally suck to go through all that trouble and then try to put the keyhole slots in and then screw that up. I'm not willing to do that. So like I said at the beginning of this video, I think, you know, like, these kind of projects are designed to help me break out of my comfort zone. Keyhole slots are going to be the next thing for me to kind of get out of the comfort zone a little bit and try something different. So I think that's what we're going to do. The cool thing that I did not put on the design here, which I'm super excited about, which hopefully will work out just fine, is here at the very bottom of the board, I think I'm going to take some gold screw hooks, and I'm probably going to put one in the center and one on either side here at the bottom. You know, those hooks are going to be designed to hold things like pipe tools and things like that. So I've got you know, I've got, you know, like a keychain type thing for, like, it's got like your scraper and your tamper and all that kind of stuff. So I want to have a place to hang those. So probably something there, well, probably on the edge there. And then in the center, another hook for, like, I have a drawstring pouch where I keep my pipe tobacco. So to hang that from the center would be pretty neat. And then another hook on the other end to hang something else. You know, I've got a couple leather lanyards that I use for the longer ones, like the church warden, to wear around my neck so I can carry it hands-free when I'm at Renfest and things like that. Probably not going to do any more than 3 hooks, because this thing is already going to be pretty heavy with the pipes and stuff. So I think I'm just going to leave 3 hooks on there as just kind of an added thing. But overall, I think this plaque is going to come out really good and be kind of like a one-stop place for all the pipes, so I don't have them cluttering up my desk anymore. They'll be hanging on the wall nice and proudly displayed. We'll have a few little add-ons and accessories at the bottom, and hopefully it all works out. So this is going to be my next personal project. I got a few other projects in the works as well, so I'm not sure when this one's actually going to be completed. It's something that I'm going to work on alongside the other projects as well. But hopefully the next video I can actually show you a little bit of the creation process of this and kind of show you the physical results of how this is all turning out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I know that a lot of you who do artwork as well probably do it a little bit differently. I hope this was entertaining, and if you liked it, please let me know, and maybe in the future we'll do a few more videos. Thanks so much. See you soon.